Yeah, good evening. Well, there were quite a few things that I wanted to talk about as a result of looking at some of our comments. And one of the things that I see, and I'll ask you to excuse my croaky voice. I have a bit of a sore throat. So one of the things that seems to come up time and time again is whether you're going to be able to survive on your pension. And I've just had maybe other people, maybe there are others who are coming, say from America, who are far more blessed, certainly, than we are. I just had I had a message, a comment which said that the man that was coming in order to realize his pension would actually be around 120,000 pesos. Compared to what we have made in our best times, that would probably just be above what we had done. And that's counting my two pensions, which are very modest actually, one from the UK and one from the US. I was only in the US for just over 20 years, so those were my contributions, and I wasn't in exactly the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, so my contributions were quite modest into the US, and that's what I'm realizing now. So for the family that is lucky to be able to say that they're earning, their income is around 120, I think that they are extremely lucky and should be able to live like the proverbial kings and queens. So I know others, I know a young family who are in Cebu with one child, and I know that their let me see, their income from the US is around the 50,000 pesos. So, and they tell me that living on Cebu is more expensive than living in the Philippines, in Bohol, in the province, as they call it. So they're having to be very, very careful. Of course, one of the things that anybody who is on a pension coming from either the UK or the US, they're going to be concerned in the coming months about how safe even that is. And this is where I always say that being married to a Filipina who is from a humble beginnings, it's a big bonus, because believe me, any of the kids that you see offering their thanks for the allowance that they've been given from our very generous benefactors, our donors, you will see that their background is very, very humble. You can see it's all hollow block. It's just curtains at windows instead of windows, and you'll see that they are coming from very humble beginnings. Beth came from a family of 10. She is one of 10 children, and that was a very humble beginning. And she has some quite heartbreaking stories about how she had to manage when she went to work in Cebu. She was a working student. Lots of kids are working students. They have to go and they'll stay in somebody's house. A little bit in my In my generation, they would have been called au pairs. An au pair was the European way of describing a working student, someone who would come, they'd be allowed sufficient time off to do their studies, but they'd help in the house. A lot helped with the children, and some with a little housework, depending on what the family setup was. But it's the same thing. They know how to survive, and they survive by experience. Beth got just a few hundred pesos allowance from being a working student, and she had to work for the rest. She went on, and that went on for several years until she'd completed her college, and then she was given a job at the same hospital that she'd been a working student. So that worked out well for her, and she seamlessly went from one status into the next. She still continued to support her family, and she has been the one who has done that the most. She is an incredibly hard worker, as I've found in being married to her. So there's all of these things to consider when you're going to come and live in the Philippines. And there's many other things to consider, that if you come and you're a retiree, it's most likely that you will meet and marry a Filipina who is probably a great deal younger than you. My stand on that is obvious, as I am an old fart and I'm married to a lovely young woman, and I won't apologise for that. We've been married for coming up, I think, for 11 years, and we've had to work very hard at making our way in the world together and in producing a happy marriage between us. So we don't have any children. We have adopted a child, but as it would happen, Lovely, who we were asked to take care of by the mother. We met the mother one day. We knew her because through our charity we'd actually built her and her family a house in the mountains. And she knew that she was in bad health with a bad heart condition, which eventually took her life. And she must have known that she was dying, because that day that we met her in Talabong, she asked us if we would take care of Lovely. Our children, actually. But we were only able to take Lovely, although we did take her sister as well, but her sister didn't settle at Nanai's place. Nanai is a strict disciplinarian and doesn't take any crap. If I might revert back to my heritage for a moment. So it's a sad story for the sister, who was a lovely child, but she was older. She was around 11 or 12 and was a little bit stronger minded. She was in a motorcycle accident. She had a head injury which was not diagnosed, and eventually what obviously was a severe concussion took her life. So that was that. So that's how we are. As I say, we started with a very modest income with my pensions, and often used to be begging for the time to go by so we could go and worship at the Great God ATM for my next pension. But anyway, for those of you who are coming with a reasonable pension, you'll come and you will learn to survive. And as the lucky people that said that they had 120,000, they will be the lucky ones, but it will depend on the lifestyle that they have. And if you can live at a very high standard here. Some of the houses that are for rent are on a very high standard compared to none. Compared to anywhere in the world, I should say. So it's possible to get a small apartment, a one-room apartment, for as little as 3,000 pesos a month, which is very, very cheap. And for that, you would have a one-room studio apartment with a bathroom, shower, and probably out into a yard at the back, small yard at the back, which will be covered. I'm describing the one that we had. There would be a little kitchen. So you can exist at that level, or as in some of the friends that we've made as a result of our channel, you can pay 15, 20, 25,000 pesos a month, and you can live in a very, very nice house in a very location. So there's that's open to you. So how much it costs is very much how much you want to spend to support the lifestyle that you expect to have here. Let me have a drink. Of course, the next thing I have written down is the age gap marriage. It's a big bone of contention for those who don't live in the Philippines. In the Philippines, it is accepted, and even though you might go into town or into somewhere and see people talking behind their hand, that's very rare. Filipinos are very, very kind. The worst that they might say about you is that it was an arrangement, that the wife, the Filipina, has made a compromise with perhaps what she wants. Let's face it, every young woman wants a handsome, young, successful, rich man. I don't know any exceptions to that idea. So that's going to be there, I think, wherever you go. I remember being in Florida, looking in the personal columns in the hope of getting a date, and I would see women who were advertising and putting a personal ad in to find a partner, and they were stipulating, I remember one very clearly, it's burned into my memory, she expected $120,000 or $130,000 a month as income, and that's what she expected. Don't bother calling if you're not making that. I didn't bother calling. Okay, so the next thing, if I quickly do the bums rush in this little mix of stuff that I'd like to deal with, is the idea of supporting the extended family. Now, one man said, see, some people are much more practical, certainly, than I am. And the one comment, which made total sense to me, he said, when you come over, you live alone for a while, which has been my suggestion as well. My own suggestion is very short and sweet. When you come here, at first, you keep your mouth shut and you keep your eyes and your ears open, and you see how Filipinos live. You see how they interact together. How do they get served in the marketplace? Just see how the society here works. It's a working society. Now, he made the suggestion that you should come and live quietly, and then you should look around to find someone, obviously here, who is already doing a job and leading a responsible life, earning their own keep. And if you find that you can't afford the lifestyle that you're expected to meet when you hook up with that lady, whoever she is, then leave. So that's the most practical thing that I've heard. For myself, when I came, personally, I'd already lost all of my close family. I have the only family that I'm really aware of is in the UK. I have children who I am not close to, or not close to me, and the only family that I really communicate to are the family of my brother, who I love very much and lost when he was in his 50s. It was a great blow to me. And his children I still communicate to, and his wife, though even with them we are not close. So why would I change on having an extended family? To give you my experience. My own experience is that when I first came, I was like most other foreigners. You know, when the subject of me supporting everybody, I don't know why people do this. They always make it seem as if it's not a gradual thing where you give what you can to help those in need and your extended family. It seems like it's an all or nothing thing. They're saying, I'm not supporting everybody. Well, of course, the truth is that you're not expected ever to support everybody. Do you think that I could support Beth's family of 10, 9 siblings? No. So the way that I began to look at it was that when we were living at first with Nanai, and I was building our little house, and I noticed that her brother would come and eat regularly with us. And of course, I don't know what it is about the tight-fistedness of a Westerner coming over here. Perhaps it's that they are fearful of being left without money. I do know one man who has voiced this as his own particular way of life. He is unwilling to support his wife's family, even though his wife has, in my opinion, has virtually saved his life in many ways. But he says no, and that's what he means. I feel that you are cutting yourself off from a possible fruitful bonding with various family. And for whatever support that we are able to give to my extended family, to Beth's family now, we always give what we can, especially to Nana, because Beth's father died quite a number of years ago, before I met her. And Nanai lives alone. When I say alone, she is her own support, right? So she has no other partner, is what I'm trying to say. Now, Beth's brother lives very close, and one of Beth's sisters also lives very close, and they, of course, operate as a family. The little girl that we fostered, Lovely, also stays with family, and for a very good reason there. Older Filipinos don't like to live alone. And for Lovely to live with Nanai is like living with her grandma, and she's well taken care of, and we support her. So I saw these things very simply, because I say I've already been talking a long time. I see these situations as I don't have a family, I welcome a family. And would I help to support my own family if I felt that they, like my mother, would I begrudge helping my mother if I thought that she was lacking? No, I don't. I don't think I would. And now I have the chance to be a better son-in-law, even though my mother-in-law is younger than me. Okay. The ironies don't escape me. But we do what we can to make life comfortable. And that's for everyone. And because of that, we can call upon the help of Lena. Lena often does things for us. She'll go into town for us for things that Beth needs, and we will make sure that she is okay. Rado also does things for us, and is a very, very helpful member of our family. So these things, they work out. If you're a foreigner yet to meet a Filipina and you're in fear because of the comments that you see about how people coming here are expected to support entire families, I shouldn't be so concerned if I were you. There's much more to it than that, and there are great rewards, I feel. Okay, I should quit now. I did cover most of the things very quickly. I know probably not as much in depth as we usually go, but certainly for the moment, what I would see as happening in both the UK and the US, I would certainly wholeheartedly recommend living here in the Philippines, because